In today's fascinating case, we will cover a stunning archaeological discovery related to crucifixion, a gruesome method of execution widely practiced in the Roman Empire and neighboring Mediterranean cultures, including the powerful Persian Empire. This cruel method consisted of nailing a person to a large cross or wooden stake, forcing them to remain there until death. But before we continue, I ask you to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for free, activating the bell for all notifications. The true nature of crucifixion transcends the simple physical act. This method of punishment had a sinister mission: to show the public a terrifying vision of the fate of criminals and dissidents who paid with their lives for their infractions. The intention behind this brutal spectacle was clear: serve as a grim and unforgettable warning to the population, dissuading them from defying established laws. This method of unparalleled cruelty was a strategy of social control that left a lasting mark on the memory of all who witnessed it. The first records of crucifixion take us back to Persia, where the belief in the sanctity of the land prohibited the burial of the bodies of criminals, fearing that this would desecrate the soil. Instead, birds of prey were allowed to soar overhead, and dogs were allowed to take care of the remains of those crucified. Interestingly, pre-Hellenic Greece rarely resorted to this brutal method. It was only with the expansion of Alexander the Great's empire in the 4th century BC that crucifixion found its way to the lands of the eastern Mediterranean. Later in the 3rd century BC, the Phoenicians introduced this practice to Rome, leaving a lasting mark on the history and culture of the ancient world. In the heart of the Roman Empire, crucifixions took place in public places, often on the side of busy roads like the majestic Appian Way. This macabre spectacle was intended to convey a terrible reminder of the power of the state to all who passed by, leaving them astonished at the cruelty imposed. Before the final act, the victim faced the torture of whipping or flagellation with different instruments, depending on the origin and social position of the condemned person. Stripped of dignity and tied by the wrists to a fixed object, such as a lowered column, the person was forced to bend over, which made the executioner's execution more effective and terrifying. From ancient literary records, we know that tens of thousands of people suffered the terrible punishment of crucifixion in the vast Roman Empire. In Palestine, this number reached the thousands. Surprisingly, until 1968, not a single archaeological discovery of a victim of this method of execution had been made. The reason for this lack of evidence lies in the fact that those crucified rarely received a dignified burial. As we mentioned before, birds and dogs were left to consume the remains of the condemned while they were still hanging on the cross, or else they were placed in dishonorable burials, often in mass graves. However, specific practices related to the treatment of crucified bodies varied over time and in different parts of the empire. On certain occasions, relatives or friends were able to request permission from the Roman authorities to recover the body of someone who had been crucified and offer it a suitable burial. This is exemplified in the case of Yeshua Jesus, who, after being taken down from the cross, received a dignified tomb thanks to Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent member of the Sanhedrin, the Jewish Supreme Court, as narrated in the Gospels. However, the surprising turnaround occurred after 3 days, when Jesus triumphed over death and rose again, manifesting himself to more than 500 witnesses. Critics of the resurrection argue that the biblical account of Jesus' burial may be an invention of the gospel writers, since according to the norms of the time, someone condemned to crucifixion would rarely be entitled to a respectful burial. Nevertheless, an event of great relevance occurred in 1968 near Jerusalem, when the heel bone of a crucified man was discovered with a thick iron nail through it. This surprising find was housed in an ossuary stored inside a tomb. An ossuary functioned as a secondary coffin to house the bones of the deceased after a certain period of burial. Even more intriguing, the ossuary bore an inscription in Hebrew: Yehohanan ben Hagakol, Yehohanan, son of Hagakol. This raises significant questions and offers tangible evidence about the procedures associated with crucifixion and the burial of those who suffered this terrible punishment. This discovery marked a historic moment, representing the first time that the remains of a crucified person were found inside a tomb. What makes it even more remarkable is the confirmation it offers to the gospel accounts, that contrary to expectations, a crucified person could in fact receive a formal burial, as was the case with Jesus. Furthermore, another surprising revelation related to the burial of a crucified person shed light on this terrible execution practice widely used in the ancient Roman Empire. As first reported in December 2021 in the magazine British Archaeology, a team of archaeologists excavating a site near Fenstanton in southeast England made an extraordinary discovery. They found the remains of a person who was crucified during the 2nd century AD. Although crucifixion was a relatively common method of execution in the Roman Empire, this is only the 4th case in which an archaeological discovery has provided direct evidence of the practice. Similar to the case of Yehohanan discovered in Jerusalem, the burial at Fenstanton preserves traces of the nail that pierced the individual's heel bones during the crucifixion, adding an important chapter to our understanding of the history and practice of crucifixion in antiquity. Analysis of the remains revealed that the victim was a man, estimated to be in his 20s, who lived approximately 1,800 to 1,900 years ago, during the period of Roman rule in Great Britain. The nail, just a few centimeters long, was embedded in the man's heel bone, barely passing through to the other side. Archaeologists also noted a second, smaller mark on the bone, indicating a likely previous attempt in which the nail failed to penetrate. Inside the tomb, remains of a wooden structure, possibly a bier, were found, suggesting that the body of the crucified man was placed on it. The researchers examined several hypotheses to explain the presence of the nail in the heel, but none of them proved convincing. As a result, the team came to the conclusion that the practice of Roman crucifixion offers the most plausible explanation for this intriguing discovery. The team made a remarkable discovery by finding more than 40 additional graves in Fenstanton, revealing that the region served as one of the community's main burial sites. What draws even more attention is that the mortal remains of the crucified man were treated with the same care and respect as those in other burials. This observation suggests that regardless of the crime that led to his crucifixion, the local community considered him worthy of a proper burial. Furthermore, DNA analysis indicated that the man had deep roots in this same region, not coming from some distant place within the vast Roman Empire. However, the story of the crimes that led to his crucifixion remains an unsolved mystery. Ultimately, archaeological discoveries linked to crucifixion urge us to reevaluate our perspective on the past and recognize that, although intrinsically inhumane, this practice is an undeniable part of human history. Learning from these discoveries is not just about unraveling the past, but also about reminding us of the ongoing need to pursue justice, compassion, and respect for human dignity, regardless of circumstances. The past is a lesson we can use to shape a more humane and compassionate future. The act of providing a respectful burial to a crucified person invites us to reflect on the compassion and humanity that, somehow, managed to coexist with the cruelty of the time. And you, what did you think of this video? Share your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel for free, while also activating the notification bell for all updates. Until the next video.